everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Pregame Show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or find a store near you. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me tonight, it's Flyperbole himself. That's right, the one and only Steve Jaco. What's going on tonight, Steve?
Feeling great, Bill. Excited for a Flyers loss tonight.
Yeah, it's listen, after that last meeting between these two teams, Peter Kochetkov didn't exactly play great, and Carolina dominated. They end up winning 6-4. It's going to take probably some similar shooting percentage luck to hang with them again. They are a wagon, as the kids say. 13-4, like they're just unfreaking believable. Oh yeah,
every year.
Step back this year. Look at everything they lost. Oh no, they never lose actually.
It's almost like those smart guys when you put them in charge make smart decisions.
Yeah, it's very funny to see. We'll talk about a couple of the additions the Carolina Hurricanes made in the offseason and some of their leading scorers who you might not have expected, but we have to start with tonight's lineup. The injury situation continues for the Flyers, and we got this tweet early today around 10 a.m. Cam York is on IR day-to-day. Ersson remains on IR day-to-day. Drysdale on IR remains day-to-day. Andre day-to-day. All four not in the lineup tonight, so we're going to kind of go with this kind of ramshackle lineup I guess we've had over the last few games. Helge Grans made his debut last game, Steve. I guess that's where we'll start, is with the defense. First, when you see these pairs, assuming it's going to be once again Sanheim, Risto, Sealer, Johnson, Zamula, Grans, that's a whole lot of guys I'd be comfortable with on my third pair. With Sanheim last game, Risto obviously getting leaned on too, but I think it was like 31.5 minutes for Sanheim, and then Risto ends up second with like 22 something. Are you comfortable as long as York is out, just kind of keep piling the minutes onto Travis Sanheim?
I'm not comfortable with it, but it's what you have to do. He's the only guy you can trust with those number of minutes on this team. I mean, I like Nick Sealer and all, but I ain't trusting Nick Sealer with any more minutes that he's getting. And Johnson's old and cooked. I mean, he's doing great for what he can do, but he's old. That's what he can do. Like, he's the 7. Yeah. And like, I don't know, like you just have to do it at this point. You have no choice. And thankfully Sanheim's, been playing at a pretty good level, but like he shouldn't have to be playing this. 30 minutes is nuts.
That's we've seen 28, 30 along the way, but they had that stretch of, 4 straight overtime games and stuff. So it's like, okay, last game, regulation game, 31 plus minutes. That seems like a lot. And I know it's okay. Well, what do you do? Like, what's the difference between 28 and 31? And I brought this up in the last post game. Like, we've seen guys like Ryan Suter who take the big minutes, and it's like, yeah, man. And they don't cross the red line unless there's a gun to their head. Like, they're very much conserving their energy. And then in the third period, we're seeing Sanheim behind the net last game. He's been all over the place. I just love seeing it as a guy who's long been critical of Travis Sanheim and never really knew if he had this in him. I still do, like, number one defenseman. No, the Flyers are going to have to find one of those, but I know who that guy can play with now. And I just kind of thought, oh yeah, Sanheim, York, that's a great second pair. Really happy about that. And now it's either one of them I think could maybe play in that top pair on a good team. Sanheim has been awesome, but it is funny to see how the minutes were distributed last game. So it's Sanheim with a ton, Risto over 20. Making his NHL debut, it's Grans was at like 16 something. He was in third. That's the guy they trusted with the third most minutes last night. A dude who'd never played before. John Tortorella probably doesn't know who he is on site. Like, oh yeah.
And he likes him more than half the guys on the team.
And he's already like, well, he's better than Zamula. And that's just kind of where we are with this lineup at this point. But we're seeing that all three of the injured defensemen are day-to-day. Emil Andre isn't on IR. Drysdale and York are. But York especially, he's been practicing in a non-contact jersey. They're just kind of bringing him along slowly. We think it's a shoulder injury. He dealt with a shoulder injury last year that he played through, and it was like, yeah, he probably shouldn't, but he's finally getting the NHL time he wants, and he's playing pretty well, so he ain't coming out. When they're all back, you have to split up Sanheim and York, right?
I think so at this point. I mean, when they're all back seems like a fictional event at this point. It just, with the way the injuries have staggered out recently, I can't even fathom them all being back. But yeah, I mean, I like spreading the wealth out there. I'm a big fan of like having a guy like York with a guy like Risto there, where Risto can hopefully focus in on playing good, solid defense, and York can focus on these more offensive aspects of the game. That's in a nice world where that happens, right? And then, Sealer Drysdale is a great like bottom pairing right there. Well, great. I mean, it's got potential to be good for the same reasons, where one guy can focus on offense, one guy can focus on defense. And then I love Emil Andre. I have loved Emil Andre, and I really liked him on the top pairing. It was a bummer when he went down hurt.
No, it was. And now, you're just like, it's not even so much that they're missing the bodies right now, and they are. Like, again, you have one dude playing 30 minutes every single night. He played 27 a couple games ago. It was like, oh, little night off for him.
Dude, these are numbers like the 2010 playoffs when like Chris Pronger was playing like 29, 30 minutes a night.
And there was no third pair. It was just like, we got a couple of guys dressed, but no, we don't put them on the ice because whenever we do, something goes wrong.
Oh, Ryan Parent's here. Great.
Yeah. Hey, Ryan Parent. Who's was it?
Oscars Bartulis.
Oscars Bartulis. There's but anyway.
They sucked.
We can just start naming dudes. That's a whole
that's a summer
show.
podcast right there.
Yeah, we got 3-4 months in the summer to name dudes. Not so much the bodies that the Flyers are missing right now, but it's also the style of player. Like you mentioned, having one guy who can kind of carry the puck, one guy who can move the puck, and one guy who can focus on defense. Let's look at these pairs again. Sanheim, Risto, Sealer, Johnson, Zamula, Grans. And Charlie has the lines now, and it's Zamula, Grans, Sealer, Johnson. Zamula, he's been playing a little better lately.
He just got on the Rocky steps. That's all it took.
Yeah, that's all it took. And Grans, the only other righty in the lineup. So that second pair makes some sense there. But when I read those 6 names, it's like, is Zamula he's, power play 1. So obviously, is he the second best puck mover on this defense right now?
God, I think he is, looking at this. I mean, he has to be.
Risto has been, it's not like he's the best passer or anything, but he's been carrying the puck a bit more lately.
He has. And, you're talking about Sanheim ending up in the offensive zone in, I think, the previous game. I saw Risto back there a bunch too, like fighting his way in the corner. And I'm like, you're on the wrong side fighting your way in the corner right now, my guy.
Yeah, he's, he is. I
mean, dude, look at this defense. I mean, whatever.
What are you gonna
do?
At
this team, whatever you can get.
No, and that's where we get to maybe some of the self-inflicted issues. Like you look at the lines, and I believe we have Couturier. Yeah, we have Couturier with Konechny and Tippett. That stays together. Kate stays with Michkov, and now we see Farabee. That line got some run in the last game together and had a little bit of success. Lawton with Tony Dick and Bobby Brink, and then Paling with Forster, who remains on the 4th line, and Garnett Hathaway. I said this on yesterday's show with Charlie and Kelly. Steve, I am done with Morgan Frost as a concept. Like, I'm tired of talking about him. It's been the amount of time we have dedicated to a 40-point guy who sometimes plays and sometimes doesn't is unbelievable. But right now, while your centers are Couturier, who, is doing the little things, but he's a 0 on offense. Cates, who literally has no goals. Lawton has 2. They're in 1 game. And Paling and Ryan Poehling, who has no goals. Like, I don't know how you keep Morgan Frost out of this lineup much longer. And I'm not, I want him, I want to be done with it. Trade him, get rid of him, do literally anything with him. I don't know how you keep him out.
I feel like we have talked about Morgan Frost for hundreds of hours of our lives at this point. For a guy that will be a trivia question in 10 years. Like, I can't believe how much we talk about Morgan Frost. It is wild to me. And I don't know how he's out of this lineup. It's just crazy. Look at the center depth. They need centers wherever they can get it. They need scoring wherever they can get it. They got to trade him, number one. But until he's traded, number one, to facilitate a trade, you need him in the lineup to show what he's got. And then, like, until he's traded, like, you have to have him in the lineup. I'm sorry, they just suck. Like, it's not good center depth. Scott Laughton is barely a center. I like the guy a lot, but, like, there's a reason he's never stuck at center, even though he was drafted as a two-way center.
No, that's the thing. Like, two of these guys, Cates and Laughton, they're better on the wing. And, like, they're bottom six forwards. That's what they are. Yeah, you could be happy with them centering your fourth line or something if you didn't have a Ryan Poehling, who's pretty much a legit center who can do that. But it's a whole bunch of dudes who do nothing for you on offense. And this team, I know they've been scoring a bit lately, but they don't have offensive firepower. That is shown in the fact that Sean Couturier is their 1C, and he never scores.
I think he's third in points on this team or something like that, or fourth. Like, and it's with barely scoring over the past few weeks. I mean, it's Konechny, Michkov, and a bunch of guys pretty much. I'll throw it. Well, I'd say I'd throw Owen Tippett in there, but like, you want to see more out of Owen Tippett too than you've seen so far.
You absolutely do. Like, just if you take a look at Sean Couturier's game log. So on October 26th, he has the hat trick, the 5-point game against Minnesota. Since then, 10 games, he has 3 points. He had a 2-point night last time they played Carolina, and he had an assist against Buffalo. No points in 8 of the last 10. Like, he's your 1C?
Your 1C. Like,
he's your 1C, and it's
I feel like you get points by standing there, you know, just by participating. You have the puck on your stick at some point. You'd think a secondary assist would happen.
Yeah, like, it's
especially because TK scoring. Like, it's not like Konechny's not scoring out there. He's the guy who is.
TK has like 13 points in his last 7 games.
Yeah,
like, he's scoring a ton, and this somehow it just isn't translating to like his other 2 line mates. It's pretty wild.
It's crazy. Again, it's TK, Michkov. Like, what's going on, guys?
It. And then like Sanheim now.
Yeah, Sanheim. That's it. Sanheim jumped up there all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I was looking. I do a preview show at the beginning of the week, and I looked and I saw Sanheim up there, and I'm like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah, he really hadn't scored much to start the year. Like, the scoring numbers were down, and suddenly he's right back up there. I just noticed. Is that a Heavy Slime shirt? I just got that shirt too. That's good stuff.
Oh, it sure is. I love it.
That's good stuff. You mentioned Morgan Frost and how, if nothing else, like, you have to play him in order to help him build some, like, just value and get back on people's radars, so maybe you can trade him. And I don't think it's any surprise, like, for Daily Faceoff, Anthony DeMarco today wrote, it doesn't seem as if he has much value around the league. Like, yeah, I can't imagine he does, considering a team with no centers refuses to play him.
Like, Tortorella also just actively craps on him every chance he gets. He calls him a toilet seat. I forget what the quote was from, like, yesterday or whatever, but, like, it was another one going, like, he's just not good, like, stuff like that. Like, I know he's got talent, but he doesn't play like it. It just, like, he is disappointment dad constantly to this guy, and it does nothing for the trade value.
I think it was something like, he's our most skilled center, and that's obvious. But, it's like, so we have no skill, and yet you want to make sure you don't play. And listen, it's not like he's been good. I don't want to make this sound like, oh, you're sitting here and he's got the 1 goal and I think 6 points. No, I don't think he's good. I'm done with him. He's a 40-point player. That's what he's proven to be. But they have no center.
They don't have centers. They need centers. Somebody has to play the middle. And look, objectively speaking, the guy is one of the more talented players on the team offensively, but the play is inconsistent, and you know how much John Tortorella loves his two-way play. And Morgan Frost don't do that. He's one of those guys. He's going to catch on somewhere else and be fine, but it's because they're going to use him in sheltered minutes like Van Riemsdyk or like our friend Shayne Gostisbehere over in Carolina over there.
Yeah, exactly. You need to figure out a way, like especially the way this team is built. I thought maybe it would work because we have all these wingers, so it only makes sense to have a scoring third line. It's like if we can figure out a way, like the same way maybe we need to use Bobby Brink, like shelter him, but figure out a way to deploy him on offense. And they're doing it with Anthony Richard. He's been putting up points. They just don't seem interested in doing it with Morgan Frost. And so, whatever, he remains out of the lineup. And our centers are Couturier, Cates, Lawton, and Paling tonight. And that gets us to the goalies. It'll be Ivan Fedotov tonight, Steve. Since his,
disaster.
First three games, which were a disaster, save percentage around his shoe size. Now he's a big guy, so 3-0-0 with a 918 save percentage since November 7th, basically since the Ersson initial injury. I have liked what I've seen out of him quite a bit and excited for him. I want to see a little bit more Kolosov. Like while you have the opportunity, I want to see them alternate a little bit more than they have. It's been a lot more. It's 3-1 now, Fedotov since the last Ersson start.
Well, there was that night where they just had a guy off the street on the bench, though.
Yeah, there was also.
So to be fair,
Ersson Kolosov was banged up for a time where they just didn't have two goalies. And it had to be Fedotov, and that was one of Fedotov's best games. He beats Vasilevsky toe-to-toe in a shootout.
I lost some money that night, Bill. I'm not going to lie. I lost some money that night.
I got to believe that
I thought it was a sure thing.
I got to believe that was a pretty good night for Vegas overall. I bet you there was a lot of overs, a lot of Tampa team total overs. Maybe some Fedotov save unders, because that was something I was starting to look at. I was like, well, if he's going to get pulled in every game and his numbers are like 25, I'm going to bet his saves under every night. Like, that was something I was looking at. But he has really righted the ship, and looking forward to seeing what he can do against a team that's going to get 40 shots tonight. Like, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I don't know why he's playing better. Like, I can't quite explain it, which is weird, because when I watch him play, it's still like concerning constantly. Like the way he gets out of position, the way he's kind of like flopping around out there. I'm always like, oh my God, it is just painful. But he's doing something right. He's getting the big saves, and the numbers don't lie. Like, he's doing something to get those wins. Tampa's a team that, like, you don't just magically do well against, like he's doing something right out there. Kolosov is a guy, I feel like he's more technically sound every time I watch him, but again, whatever Fed's doing, keep it up, bud.
No, it's very much working. And I do think like he's up on his tippy toes a little less. He's out at the right times and backing up and just making himself big at other times. Like, let me take up a lot of the net, or let me take the angle away. And
it shouldn't be hard for him to take up a lot of the net.
I do think he's just kind of adapting to the angles and the way in which he's being attacked in North America, because it's different. Like, it's very much different. And that's the reason, like, maybe there's not a huge difference in overall skill ability between the KHL and the AHL, but if Kolosov is like, no, I'm going back to the K, it's like, man, the thing you need to adapt to, you can't figure out over there. It's more of a perimeter game. It's not the traffic. And it looks like it's taken Fedotov, the couple of games he got in last year and the first 3 games he played this year, but he's adapted pretty well. And, I know he's going to get peppered tonight. I'm sure Carolina's going to score a little bit because they're really freaking good. They, 37, 38 shots a game, near the top of the league and everything. Chances are Fedotov's not going to steal this one. But it's a good test for him, and I don't expect him to give up 7, which is something, if they played this game a week ago, I'd be like, oh, yeah, man, we can just start post-game now.
Right. That Tampa game, I thought that was an easy 7, especially without a safety net in there, which, if anything, maybe the lack of a safety net's what helped him there, because he knew there was no way out. It's me or nothing. So, and it's not like baseball where you can just throw a position player in there at the end of the game to pitch and say, well, it's 20-0. Let's throw Tomas Perez in there. You can't do that here. It was him or nothing else, and he really stepped up to the plate, and I was really pleasantly surprised. And this is a great test, as you said. I'm excited to see what he can pull off tonight. It's not a game I expect the Flyers to win, if I'm being totally honest, but I think the Flyers can make a game out of it. Maybe they scrabble together a point and get to overtime or something, but it's a great test for Fedotov.
And they have been playing a lot better. I thought they played pretty well in that game in Carolina. Now, in the final 40 minutes of that game, 6 shots on goal. But that's something I expect against Carolina. The Flyers are not good. Carolina is.
They've Jacob Slavin. Come on.
Yeah. When they did that against Calgary, it was concerning. When it's Carolina, it's like, well, this is their whole strategy, to have the puck the whole game. And that's going to inform at least one of our bets tonight. This pregame pick segment is brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Well, we are going with the former Flyer auto bet here. Shayne Gostisbehere over half a point, -115. He didn't pick one up in the last game against the Flyers, and that was like the second game of a 4 or 5 game pointsless streak for him. But he's right back to producing, right back to putting up points. He's got, I think, 4 points in his last 3 games. We're going to get on Shayne Gostisbehere tonight. Eric Robinson was listed for goals, but was not listed for points. So I did not get anything on Belmar product Eric Robinson, pride of Hollydale. But we are going to take this Travis Sanheim over 2.5 blocked shots at +115. Like I said, Sanheim gonna play probably 30 minutes. Carolina gonna have the puck most of the game. Sanheim had 3 blocks against Carolina last time out. That was only in 25 minutes. He hasn't had fewer than 2 blocks in his last 10. He's had 3 or more in 5 of those 10. 4 blocks in each of his last 2. Sanheim over 2.5 block shots. I just think the combination of Carolina having the puck all night and Sanheim playing 30 minutes means a few of these are going to hit him probably, Steve.
I would think so. I would definitely think so. And anything involving Carolina shots, I'm a big fan of. If you're putting a little bit of money down tonight, because they're going to get shots.
Yeah, I was looking at Fedotov saves, but it's just another one of those. Yeah, I think he's going to play better. But if it's 4-0 after 2, Kolosov's coming in,
Right. This is not the E-bug situation.
It's just the way it's going to be. But that leads us to Carolina Hurricanes. They are 13-4-0 with 26 points in the standings. Peter Kurchetkov in net doesn't have incredible numbers, but honestly, when you face 24 shots a night, your save percentage probably isn't going to be crazy. I love Jacob Slavin. He goes very good. You look at these leading scorers, and Marty Necas, he has taken the challenge from Rod Brind'Amour and then some. He's been freaking awesome. We know Svetch is good. We know Aho is good. Shayne Gostisbehere right back to putting up points. And then Eric Robinson. A career good speed guy, penalty killer. Pride of Hollydale, like I said, his jersey is up in Dunlop's in Hollydale, which is always really cool to see. There's some NHL guys up there, but 12 points for this team. Good for him, man. But they are a damn good team, and not a ton of holes out there. I mean, goaltending might be their weak point, and it's no, they're fine.
Yeah, and with Anderson out, I mean, I don't know. You would think that's one area where maybe you get them, because Frederik Andersen has been very good for that team. But I mean, yeah, those are nice numbers right there. They're not great, but honestly, it would make the best Flyers goalie for the past 10 years, right?
And we always have to remember, like, we have to recalibrate a few things right now. Like what money is going to mean when the salary cap continues to go up. Like suddenly I got mailbag questions on last Friday. Like, oh, what is that monster contract that Sanheim signed to, like, aging well? It's like, well, it's not a monster like
it was never a monster contract. Yeah, like it's just a long contract.
It's sub 7. Like, yes, 8 years is always gigantic. But like a 6.25 or whatever, that's going to mean even less as this salary cap approaches like 100 million. But also save percentages. Like for a while, it was like, yeah, 910 is average, and you need to be like 915 to be a number one. The league average dipped to like 900 the other night.
Is like that right?
Yeah. I don't know what it is now. I can't imagine it's changed drastically in like the last 72 hours or whatever. But the league average save percentage was 900.
Oh, 904?
Man. Yeah, on a team like that never gives up shots, that's fine for Carolina.
Let's go back to the 80s when Ron Hextall could win a Vezina with like an 889 or 887.
He only gives up goals like 15% of shots. He's the best in the league.
Hey, listen, he's wildly flailing with his blocker at a puck shot from like 100 feet away. It's fine.
As long as you can do anything, as long as you don't lightly brush up against the goalie, then maybe it won't count, but maybe it will.
Who knows? I really, truly don't know anymore.
You can't have a significant presence in the crease if the goalie wants that space. I was happy that got overturned because, like, I want to see Kolosov not get lit up, but I don't know. Like, yeah, it looked like a goal.
It looked like a goal to me. I was very surprised that got overturned.
Yeah,
but not complaining, but yeah, it seems ticky tacky.
No, I was listening to Roberto Luongo did Chicklets the other day, and they just asked him about goalie interference. Like, are you confused by it? He's like, no, I just disagree with it whenever it goes against the Panthers. And the whole rest of the time, I'm like, yeah, that's probably goalie interference. And I think that's where everyone is with it. Like, yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Right. Like, I feel like I know it when I see it, but who the hell knows, man? It's like a catch in the NFL these days. Like, who can even say? Yeah.
Before we wrap up, first, Bryn, do we have any 0 super chats? Excellent. I got to tell you about something really fun coming up. I mean, it's not coming up till April, but it is on sale, and you can book it right now at allphly.com/event. It's the Philly Sports Trip Flyers Takeover in Montreal. That's right. We are teaming up with Philly Sports Trips to go to Montreal, baby, from April 4th to the 7th. It's a must for Flyers fans of all ages. You can experience the thrill of hockey in its birthplace while cheering for the Flyers against those damn dirty Canadians. Trip package includes optional round-trip direct flights from Philly to Montreal, comfortable 3-night hotel stay at the Hyatt-centric Montreal, meet and greet with Brian Propp, group tickets to the game, all-inclusive tailgate, and much more. Plus, our dedicated team of trip coordinators will be on hand to ensure everything runs smoothly so you can enjoy the rich history and vibrant atmosphere of Montreal. It's going to be a really good time. Kelly's going, Charlie's going, I'm going to be there. Brian Propp will be there, as you've heard. So book it right now, allphly.com. Check out the events tab and scroll down. Find that trip in April. Head to Montreal with us. Going to be a lot of fun. All right, one here from Gary B before we wrap up. It's wishful thinking. I love Frost, but could trade him for Zegras. Someone made the point the other day because Zegras is heating up a little bit. Maybe Mason McTavish is the one who's going to be the odd man out there because his ice time was declining a bit a couple of weeks ago. Maybe he's the one out in Anaheim to keep an eye on. Whoever it is, I don't know. Like, you trade Frost in a package, it's going to have to include something else pretty valuable if you want to get something of value back. Because, like, well, why don't you want him? Like, you want to trade him to us. You want to trade him to us. you're selling him as what exactly? Because John Tortorella doesn't want to play this guy.
This is not a Gauthier for Drysdale situation.
No.
Definitely not. You're going to have to make a package. But the good news is the Flyers have some assets at this point to try and make a deal like that happen. So I'm into some wheeling and dealing. But as you were saying with Frost earlier, I think we're all over talking about him. We've talked about him way too much. So let's move on. It'll be better for him. It'll be better for us. And we never have to talk about him again.
Yeah. Like, that's when I hear like, oh, neither the team or the player are all that interested in moving on. I'm like, why the hell not? Everyone else is.
Oh my God. It just feels like it's going to go on forever like this. And well, I don't care.
All right. Well, it's game time just about. Make sure you're tuned in to TNT. That's right. National broadcast for Flyers Canes tonight. This has been the PHLY Flyers pregame show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey to get Coors Light delivered or to find a store near you. We'll be back with post-game. Charlie's down at the Wells Fargo Center. He'll be joining us then. Until then, let's go Flyers.